You're listening to the Franchise Freedom Podcast with Giuseppe Grammatico.
Welcome to the Franchise Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, your franchise guide, where we help corporate executives experience time and financial freedom via franchising. And have a great show for you today. We're continuing with our frequently asked questions. And the question of the week is, am I qualified to become a franchise owner? And another great question that I'd like to kind of speak on and dive right in. So, am I qualified to become a franchise owner? So, taking a step back, what is a franchise? A franchise is a business. And the big question is, are you a good fit for business ownership? And the key differentiator there between I always ask the question between a startup or non-franchise business and a franchise is that, do you want the business built for you, or do you want to build the business from the ground up? You want the business built for you that you can run with the systems in place, or do you want to figure everything out from scratch? Now, I talk about in my book, a franchise gives you that unfair advantage, but it's not the right fit for everyone. And some people really like to create everything from the ground up, and that is completely fine. No right or wrong. It's all about the right fit given your specific situation. And what I've seen is people own both. You'll see people that own a franchise and may motivate them into maybe, taking their startup live and that Word document maybe sitting on their laptop the last decade. They get motivated from a franchise and the systems that they have in place, and maybe they apply some of those ideas to launch their startup, and vice versa. Maybe you have a startup that you're loving and you're looking for more of an investment, maybe something you don't have to be involved full time, and look at something semi absentee when it comes to a franchise. So anyway, so kind of looking at qualifications. Am I specifically qualified? So if a business is potentially a right fit, now, other things to factor in is that this is a business and there's always going to be risk, whether it's a franchise or not, right? We want to find you the right match. We want to find you the right franchise company that has the right culture, that is able to truly support you so that you can run the day-to-day or maybe just work on the business. But keeping in mind, there's always going to be a risk to any business. We want to try to minimize the risk with the best we can, but there's always a risk. Risk and reward, right? We're looking for something. This is an investment. We hope to generate cash flow and sell this at some multiple down the road. So when it comes to specific qualifications, I look at kind of three areas. Number one is, are you able to follow a system? If your intention is to buy a painting franchise and then start offering something completely different, such as let's add all these additional revenue streams that have nothing to do with home service or painting, they're just completely off the wall, may not be a good fit. Not to say you can't add revenue streams or a complementary business down the road to the franchise, but the intention of the franchise and the value proposition of a franchise is that the system's in place, that you're looking for systems to be put in place to help you launch this business quickly, efficiently. You want to get up and running, start and generate revenue, hire a great team, and just really follow the systems in place, working with the point of contact. Maybe that's a coach, but following the system is key, and that's not for everyone. So that's something to really think about. The second is money. A franchise is going to cost you money. There's going to be a franchise fee on top of the total investment, the item 7, as we talked about in the FDD, franchise disclosure document. And we want to make sure that we factor in franchise fee, working capital, employee costs, vehicles, training, travel, marketing spend, that buffer. If you're in a business that maybe your customers are not required to pay you immediately, you want to make sure you have that buffer in order to pay your landlord if there's a rent involved, pay your employees, pay your marketing fee, and things like that. So money is definitely one. And I always refer, we have guidelines on the website, and there's no exact number, but you want to have some money there to make sure you have your personal expenses covered. If you are leaving your job, if you're not leaving your job, you want to make sure what's left over and what can you afford to put down in the business, and speak with a really good funding company. We work with Fran Fund, and Fran Fund can do a full analysis. So following a system is number one. Secondly, you want to make sure that there's you have that investment and you're comfortable with the idea of, in any business, it takes some time to become profitable. It takes time to generate cash flow. So not expecting to being able to take an income day one. So, factor that into the equation, and you'll get to speak with franchisees to see realistically how quickly they were able to cut themselves a paycheck. Again, not a guarantee, but you'd want to get some feedback from the franchisee as well as the franchisor. And then the final thing is time. We did a whole show on there's no time, right? You have to make a decision once we start working together in 30 days, but time frame comes into play when looking at a specific brand. And if your intention is 6 months or more, a year, 2 years to make a decision, not open, make a decision on a franchise, I would advise on just, working with someone like myself and just exploring if franchising is a good fit, and at a high level discussing the different types of franchise models, which I'll link to the show notes. We talk about the 3 different types of franchise ownership, and maybe kind of stopping there, speaking with a funding company. No reason to look at a specific brand, because every brand we have to check 2 things. If it's in a registration state, are you registered in that state? And then number 2 is kind of what's the availability is. And if your intention is you're excited about a brand, but you can't, make a decision for a while now, and maybe that's 6 months from now, that territory and those locations may not be available. So, so that's something to consider. Not to say you can't explore franchises, but when you start the specific brands, maybe you look at a competitor, same model, same space, but as you get closer, you want to start doing territory checks. We can help with that, and lock in a franchise that may be a good fit. So following a system is key. Time frame, money, keeping in mind, there's always going to be risk involved with the franchise. And then there's franchisor requirements. And there's also going to be franchisor requirements in that they kind of have, who their ideal franchise is. So there's going to be financial requirements, not just the investment requirements from the franchisor as to typically liquidity and net worth requirements. And then we also take a look at, they'll have kind of who their ideal candidate is. So if it's a model that requires the owner to really network and go door to door in the community, maybe it's B2B sales, they're going to look for someone that can take on that role that's more of an extrovert. If you're the complete opposite of an introvert and don't enjoy that, obviously we won't even explore that option. And if you contacted the franchise company directly, you may get some feedback as to, we know you follow a system, you're properly funded, but for this specific franchise, and this is getting to the specific franchise itself, it does require you to go door to door, B2B sales. And are you going to be comfortable with that? Is that's going to be your role on a daily basis? So hope you found this helpful. Would love to work with you. This is part of the entire process, in that we want this to be efficient for you. We want this to be educational. No sense looking at a franchise system if maybe a franchise just isn't a good fit for you. So we try to be as efficient as possible, answer your question, and do things together. This is a team effort. Without your feedback, this is impossible. So we need you to be open and honest and give us your feedback and concerns, and all that is helpful. No silly questions, no stupid questions. Send them my way. Any comments on this, let me know. Topic you'd like for me to cover on a future call, let me know. This is great. This is, instead of me figuring out what questions you may have, I'd like to hear it directly from you. And in many cases, I gather if I hear the same question over and over again during the week, it's going to be the topic for the week. So appreciate it all. I try to cover these in 10 minutes or less. We could definitely talk an hour on this topic alone. So let me know. GG, the Franchise Guide, book a call with me. If you're ready to talk franchising, send me a message. Tell me you love me. Tell me you want to, you have comments on the show. Tell me anything. And we appreciate any feedback. All joking aside, we put together this show to really empower, people looking into franchise ownership. So any way we can help, let us know. GGthefranchiseguide.com. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways Giuseppe can help. 1. If you've ever considered owning a business of any kind, you owe it to yourself to get a copy of Giuseppe's book, Franchise Freedom. Download your free copy at ggthefranchiseguide.com/book. 2. Want to understand how successful executives make the transition from corporate to owning their own franchise? Join Giuseppe's next online presentation, Franchise Freedom: How to Escape the Corporate World and Have Financial and Time Freedom by Owning a Franchise, by going to ggthefranchiseguide.com/video. 3. Want to work with Giuseppe one-on-one to identify the right franchise opportunity for you, to navigate the process, and get plugged into experienced franchising advisors? Send him an email to gg@ggthefranchiseguide.com with one-on-one in the subject, and he'll send you all the details.